You can't kill them in any way that matters, and you share half your genetic material with them. Mushrooms are very cool and very strange. They can't be classified as plants, and they have a shocking amount of crossover with animals. It's not entirely inaccurate to call them an alien species. Mushrooms synthesize molecules your body recognizes and uses, like ergothioneine for cellular protection, beta-glucans for immune function, hericenones for nerve growth. It's evolutionary compatibility playing out inside our bodies. Your cells have specific receptors for fungal compounds, and even if you don't believe there are things called receptors, there's an undeniable resonance. Your immune system speaks their chemical language. Even your gut bacteria know how to process their polysaccharides into bioactive metabolites. The Taoists called the mushroom lingji, what we know as reishi, the mushroom of immortality. Vikings likely ate Amanita muscaria before battle, seeking its dissociative fury. Otzi the Iceman, frozen for 5,000 years in the Alps, carried Amadou fungus for fire and birch polyphore for parasites. Our ancestors knew something that we forgot in our rush to create sterile synthetics. Fungi are allies older than language. Here's what the industry doesn't advertise. That $50 bottle of mushroom capsules probably contains more rice flour than mushroom. Lab tests of popular brands show beta glucan levels under 5%, barely above placebo. Homeopathy is a thing, but this isn't that. Meanwhile, a $10 bag of dried shiitake from the Asian grocery store contains 20 to 40% beta glucans. You're paying premium prices for agricultural waste products. The real scandal here is that growing your own mushrooms costs about $2 a pound. Making your own dual extraction tincture runs maybe 10 bucks a month. The same compounds in $100 supplements can be yours for the price of coffee grounds and a little patience. But most people don't know where to start. They don't know that you can grow pounds of oyster mushrooms in a plastic bucket in your closet. They don't realize that properly extracted reishi can replace their sleep supplements. They have no idea that medicinal mushroom industry is largely unregulated, untested, and selling myceliated grain at 1,000% markup. Consider this: Egyptian priests reserved mushrooms for royalty, believing they granted immortality. Siberian shamans traded Amanita muscaria as currency. Chinese emperors sent armies to find reishi in remote mountains. What scientists want to label as primitive superstitions were actually observations of real effects without needing to understand the beta glucans and triterpenoids we measure today. And we're going to change that. You're about to learn which mushrooms actually have human research behind them and which are just marketing. You'll get exact temperatures, timing, and ratios for extractions, and you'll know which questions expose fake suppliers and why your cat absolutely cannot share your mushroom experiments. The practical side here is that you get to stop buying overpriced mystery powders. Start working directly with the mushrooms, growing them, cooking them, extracting their compounds yourself. We're going to strip away the marketing and show you exactly how to access what mushrooms have to offer and connect with them on their level. Mysticism is a valid form of pattern recognition that we're only just beginning to recover. So let's meet the science and the spirit of the mushroom. Of the thousands of species out there, about a dozen have enough research and traditional use to justify the effort of sourcing, growing, or extracting. Here's what actually works, what compounds make them work, and why you should care about each one. Let's start with lion's mane, the brain mushroom. This one looks like a waterfall made of teeth or really thick hair, and it contains hericenones and erinesines, compounds that stimulate nerve growth factor production. Multiple human trials show that it improves memory and focus in elderly adults. Mice studies go further, demonstrating actual nerve regeneration. Take 1 to 3 grams of extract daily in the morning, or 5 to 10 grams if you're using whole dried mushroom. This is the mushroom for students, knowledge workers, creatives, writers, or anyone over 40 who wants to keep their edge. Reishi is the bitter one that everyone calls the immortality mushroom. Loaded with ganoderic acids, beta glucans, and triterpenoids, it modulates your immune system, improves your sleep quality, and protects your liver. Ancient cultures believed that it could extend lifespan and even grant immortality. And while we don't know anyone personally who's unlocked that level yet, maybe it isn't off the table. With over 400 studies, it's the most researched mushroom after shiitake. Take 2 to 6 grams of extract in the evening. If you're dealing with stress, sleep issues, or just want general longevity support, this is your go to. Turkey tail looks exactly like its name suggests and contains PSK and PSP, polysaccharides so effective they're used in FDA approved cancer trials. This is a standard cancer adjuvant therapy in Japan. It's not alternative medicine there. The immune activation is real and measurable. If you're taking it, split your dose throughout the day, 1 to 3 grams of extract total. Use it for immune support, post illness recovery, or as a cancer treatment support with your doctor's buy in. Cordyceps militaris is the performance enhancer that doesn't require harvesting from dead caterpillars anymore. The cultivated version contains cordycepin and adenosine, which increase ATP production and improve how your body uses oxygen. Human trials show improved VO2 max and reduced fatigue. Take 3 to 6 grams of CS4 extract in the morning or before workouts. Athletes use this, but it's equally valuable for altitude adaptation or chronic fatigue. Shiitake is your daily driver mushroom. It contains lentinin for immunity, irididine for cholesterol capture, and ergothioneine for cellular antioxidant protection. Human studies show that eating 5 to 10 grams daily lowers LDL cholesterol by 10 to 12%. Just eat them as food, they're delicious. No special extraction is needed. This is your cardiovascular health and general nutrition mushroom. Maitake, the metabolic regulator, contains something called D-fraction along with beta-glucans and ergothioneine. Human trials with type 2 diabetics show improved glucose control and enhanced insulin sensitivity. Take 3 to 5 grams of extract with meals. If you're managing blood sugar or weight, pay attention with this one. Chaga looks like burnt charcoal on birch trees and contains betulinic acid, melanin, and more antioxidants than any other tested food. The Russians studied it extensively after Chernobyl for radiation protection. The research is compelling, but don't overdo it. 2 to 3 grams of extract daily, cycled on and off, not continuous. This is for serious oxidative stress, radiation exposure, or potential cancer prevention. Oyster mushrooms are the cholesterol crushers hiding in plain sight at every grocery store. They naturally contain lovastatin. Yes, the exact same compound that Big Pharma synthesizes into statins. They also pack ergothioneine and beta-glucans. Eat them 3 to 4 times a week in food quantities, and it'll actually show up on your blood work. If you have high cholesterol but want to avoid medications, start here. Now, for 3 more that deserve mention. Tremella, the beauty mushroom, holds 400 times its weight in water and contains unique polysaccharides that support skin hydration from the inside. Traditional Chinese beauties weren't wrong. Modern studies confirm increased skin moisture retention. Take 2 to 4 grams daily. Agarikon, the ancient one, grows only on old growth trees and contains unique antiviral compounds. Paul Stamets champions it for immune defense, and it's showing promise against various viruses in the lab. The problem is, it's rare and expensive. If you can source it ethically, 1 to 2 grams of extract during cold season might be worth it. Mishima gets hyped, but honestly, it offers nothing that turkey tail doesn't do better and cheaper. Phalaenus lentis sounds exotic, but save your money. Same with most medicinal claims for psychedelic mushrooms. That's about psilocybin for therapy, but not daily health optimization. Here's a strategy that actually works and is reasonable to apply in real life. Rotate between lion's mane for brain support, reishi for sleep and stress, turkey tail for immunity, and shiitake for daily nutrition. That covers 90% of what mushrooms have to offer. Add cordyceps if you're athletic, maitake if you have blood sugar issues, or chaga if you're dealing with serious oxidative stress. You don't need 20 different mushroom supplements creating really weird drinks. Pick 3 or 4 based on your actual health needs. Source them properly, prepare them right, and take them consistently. That's exactly how traditional cultures have used mushrooms for thousands of years. And modern research keeps proving that they had it figured out long before we invented extraction ratios and beta glucan percentages. So you want to grow your own. Forget foraging anxiety. Growing mushrooms is controlled, predictable, and harder to screw up than houseplants. You can be harvesting your own mushrooms in 10 days without any experience, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Huh. Start with a kit is number 1. I know everybody wants to jump straight to logs and spawn, but your first grow should be foolproof and educational. $20 to $40 gets you a pre-colonized block with instructions that actually work. Oyster mushrooms are your best bet. They're aggressive growers that don't care if your house is 55 or 75 degrees. They'll fruit anyway. Shiitake takes a bit longer, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, but you get better flavor and actual medicinal compounds. Lion's mane looks like a brain and it might actually help yours work better. Plus, nothing starts a conversation faster than an alien looking mushroom on your counter. Here's the entire process: cut an X in the bag, mist it 2 to 3 times a day, and keep it out of direct sunlight. That's it, seriously. You get 1 to 2 pounds over 3 to 4 flushes. When the block stops producing, don't throw it out. Crumble it into your garden. You might get surprise mushrooms next year. If you're ready to level up, let's talk about logs and outdoor beds. Log cultivation costs maybe $20 to $50 in spawn, and tree services will often give you fresh logs for free. Yes, you'll wait 6 to 18 months for your first fruits, but then you've got 4 to 8 years of harvests. 2 to 4 pounds per log over its lifetime. The process is simple. Drill holes in fresh hardwood like oak or maple, stuff them with sawdust or plug spawn, seal them with wax, stack them in shade, and practice patience. Outdoor beds work even faster. Wine cap mushrooms in wood chips are nearly indestructible. Mix spawn into fresh hardwood chips, keep them moist, and you're harvesting in 2 to 4 months. They'll produce for years. Oysters on straw are even quicker. Layer straw and spawn in a shaded bed, and you've got mushrooms in 3 to 4 weeks. Living in an apartment doesn't mean you can't grow. A 5 gallon bucket with quarter-inch holes drilled every few inches becomes a mushroom factory. Layer pasteurized straw and oyster spawn, keep it humid, and harvest from the holes in 10 to 14 days. $15 startup cost, completely reusable. And grow bags are even simpler. Just buy pre made ones or get unicorn bags and hardwood pellets. Mix in spawn at 10 to 15% ratio, fold the top, let it colonize for 2 to 3 weeks, and then cut slits and start misting like you did with a kit. You can stack 10 bags in a closet and have a legitimate mushroom production system. Here's a secret: bathrooms are perfect grow rooms. The humidity is already there. Put grow kits on your bathroom counter and they'll thrive. Run the shower for a humidity boost if needed. Just keep them away from the direct shower spray. That's too much. Now, let's talk about what goes wrong, because it will. Green or black mold means contamination, usually from dirty hands, non sterile materials, or bad spawn. There's no fixing it, sorry. Throw it out and start over. Next time, wash your hands, pasteurize your substrates, and buy from suppliers who actually test their spawn. If your mushrooms are drying out, you're not misting enough, or they're too close to heat. Bump up to 4 or 5 mistings daily if needed, tent with a plastic bag, or move them away from heaters and vents. Sometimes you can revive a dried block with an overnight soak. Temperature matters too. Over 80 degrees and mushrooms abort while contamination risk skyrockets. Move them to the basement or use fans. Under 50 degrees and growth stalls, but most species just pause and resume when it warms up again. Sometimes a fully colonized block won't fruit, and it needs a trigger. Cold shock in the fridge overnight, increase air exchange, or add some indirect light. Mushrooms often need these environmental cues to know it's time. Your first 3 grows will teach you more than 10 hours of YouTube videos. Start simple, fail cheap, and scale up when you know how mushrooms behave in your specific environment. That's how you go from zero to mushrooms as simply as possible. The mushroom supplement industry is full of expensive sawdust. Most of what's on shelves isn't mushrooms at all. It's mycelium grown on grain, ground up and sold at 1,000% markup. And I'm not exaggerating. Here's how to avoid paying premium prices for glorified rice flour. First, the red flags that should make you walk away immediately. If a label says mycelium, mycelial biomass, or full spectrum, you're buying grain spawn, not mushrooms. Real mushroom extracts say fruiting body clearly on the label. No beta-glucan percentage listed? That's because there isn't any worth mentioning. Vague origins like sourced globally or no origin at all, they're hiding something, usually foreign grown mushrooms at unknown quality. No third-party testing data means no accountability for heavy metals, pesticides, or contamination. Proprietary blend is code for we put a sprinkle of expensive mushrooms in cheap filler. If they won't tell you ratios, don't give them money. And watch for fake certifications. Anyone can design a logo that looks official. Real certifications come from actual testing labs with names and numbers you can verify. When you contact suppliers, ask these questions. They'll expose the pretenders fast. What's your beta-glucan content? Anything under 15% for most mushrooms is pretty weak. Can I see your third-party test results? Legitimate companies post them publicly. What's your extraction ratio? should be 8 to 1 minimum for quality extracts. Where specifically are your mushrooms grown? If they can't name the farm or at least the region, move on. Do you use fruiting bodies or mycelium? There's only one right answer, and you should know it by now. Ask about their extraction methods. Hot water extraction alone misses alcohol soluble compounds. Alcohol alone misses polysaccharides. Dual extraction is the standard for a reason. If they're vague about process, they're cutting corners. Now, for sources actually worth your money. Real Mushrooms lives up to their name. Fruiting bodies only, third party tested, transparent about everything. They post their test results online. Namix supplies the raw materials to most quality brands and maintains strict standards. Post Defense gets criticized for mycelium products, but at least they're transparent about what they're selling and their research is legitimate. FreshCap provides actual lab reports and extraction ratios. Four Sigmatics started the trend, but check labels carefully. Some products are better than others. Local companies like North Spore for growing supplies and Mountain Rose Herbs for quality dried mushrooms are reliable for DIY extraction. And I'm not sponsored at all. None of these companies have contacted me. If they want to, they're welcome to. But I just found them and believe that they're doing the right things. Better than just buying supplements is buying local. Find your area's mushroom growers at farmers markets. Ask if they sell dried mushrooms for extraction. Many small farms will sell seconds, perfectly good mushrooms that aren't pretty enough for restaurants at deep discounts. There's something mycelial about connecting to your local growers, and the mushrooms in your area know the needs of the people who live there. There are some old pieces of research that suggest that the best foods for you are the ones that are grown locally and seasonally. And if you understand that we're all enmeshed in an interconnected field of energy, you already intuitively get that. Search Your City Mushroom CSA or Mushroom Co op. These operations deliver fresh mushrooms weekly and often include medicinal varieties. Join local foraging groups on Facebook or Meetup, but verify credentials before following anyone into the woods. Your regional mycological society has members lists. Many include small scale commercial growers. And visit Asian grocery stores. They often stock dried shiitake, maitake, and wood ear at a fraction of supplement prices. These are food grade, which often means better quality than supplement grade. $10 of dried shiitake from your local Asian grocery store contains more beta-glucans than most $50 supplement bottles. The economics here are super simple. Dried mushrooms cost $5 to $20 per pound. Extracts from those same mushrooms cost $50 to $100 for a few ounces. Unless you need the concentration of an extract, buy whole mushrooms and make your own teas and tinctures. You'll save 80% and you know exactly what you're getting. And when you do buy extracts, demand transparency. If a company won't share their test results, sourcing, and methods, they don't deserve your money. And this is a very broad statement. The good suppliers have nothing to hide and everything to prove. Now let's talk about making those extractions. Making mushroom extracts isn't alchemy, it's basic kitchen chemistry. You can produce tinctures and extracts that rival anything on the supplement shelves for about 10% of the cost. Here's exactly how to pull the compounds that matter out of mushrooms and into usable form. Hot water extraction is where everyone should start. This pulls out the beta glucans, the polysaccharides that support immune function. For reishi, you need a proper simmer. Break dried reishi into small pieces. A hammer works fine for this, they're pretty hard when they're dry. And use 1 ounce of mushroom to 16 ounces of water. Simmer on low heat for 2 to 3 hours. Yes, hours. The cell walls are tough and those compounds don't come out with a quick steep. Keep the temperature between 160 and 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Too hot and you denature the proteins. Too cool and you're making expensive brown water that doesn't even taste good. Turkey tail follows similar rules but needs less time. 1 hour at a simmer with the same 1 to 16 ratio does it. The extraction should taste notably bitter and earthy. If it tastes like hot water, you didn't extract anything. Chaga requires the longest extraction, 4 to 6 hours minimum. Some people go 12 hours in a slow cooker on low, and that's totally valid. Break the chaga into pea-sized chunks first. This isn't tea making, it's compound extraction. The final liquid should be dark as coffee and taste like bitter tree bark because, that's essentially what you're extracting from. Alcohol tinctures grab what water can't: triterpenes, sterols, and other non polar compounds. You need high proof alcohol, minimum 150, but 190 proof grain alcohol works best. That's what I have in my pantry, and people look at me funny for it. Vodka at 80 proof is too weak. It'll make something, but you're leaving a whole lot of compounds behind. Fill a jar halfway with dried chopped mushrooms or even mushroom powder. Cover with alcohol, leaving 2 inches of headspace. Shake daily for the first week, then weekly after that. 4 to 8 weeks is standard, but 6 months is better if you have the patience. The color should deepen significantly. Strain through a cheesecloth, squeeze the mushrooms hard to get every drop of that golden liquid out, and store in dark colored bottles so the light doesn't get to it. Alcohol tinctures can last you years. The last one I made, I used a blend of mushrooms and added cocoa powder. The color of that tincture is a deep red, the color you'd expect of a certain stone in mythical lore. Dual extraction combines both methods for full spectrum benefits. Start with alcohol extraction for 4 to 6 weeks. Strain and set the alcohol aside. Take those same alcohol extracted mushrooms and simmer them in water for 2 hours. Now you're pulling the water soluble compounds that the alcohol couldn't touch. Strain this decoction and reduce it on low heat to concentrate it. Mix your reduced water extract with your alcohol extract at roughly equal proportions. The alcohol prevents spoilage, and you've got compounds from both extraction methods. For kitchen equipment, you need way less than you think. A decent kitchen scale that measures grams, 15 bucks gets you the accuracy you need. A basic thermometer to monitor water temperature, a sharp knife or kitchen shears for chopping, fine mesh strainer, and a cheesecloth for filtering, dark glass bottles for storage, amber or cobalt blue to block the UV light, and the aforementioned hammer, of course. What you don't need is expensive extraction machines, ultrasonic devices, or specialized mushroom equipment. That $1,000 extraction setup on Instagram, it's doing the same thing as your stovetop pot, just with fancier marketing. A simple double boiler setup prevents overheating better than most gadgets. One critical point: different mushrooms need different approaches. Soft mushrooms like shiitake can be extracted fresh. Hard polyphores like reishi must be dried first, or you're mostly extracting water. Lion's mane needs gentle treatment. High heat destroys the nerve growth compounds. For lion's mane, keep the water extraction under 140 degrees. Storage matters too. Water extracts last a week in the fridge, maybe two. Add 25% alcohol by volume, and they'll last months. Pure alcohol tinctures are basically immortal if kept dark and cool. Freeze water extracts in ice cube trays for easy dosing. Each cube is roughly 1 ounce. The real test of extraction success is bioavailability, not color or taste. But since you can't run lab tests at home, trust the process. If you followed the time, the temperature, the ratios, then you extracted the compounds. Don't overthink it. Traditional cultures have been making these extracts on stovetops for centuries without spectrometers or standardization. The mushrooms know what they're doing. Your job is to just provide the right conditions and get out of the way. The truest test at home is going to be how you feel over time. This isn't like drinking a cup of coffee or taking a pharmaceutical drug. These are subtle effects that you'll notice day by day, week by week, as you consistently consume the different types of mushrooms that you've chosen. So pay attention to how you're feeling and see if you've chosen mushrooms that want to work with you. We've already talked about dosing for a lot of these mushrooms, and now we're going to start talking about other factors that impact bioavailability. Timing matters as much as the dose. Morning mushrooms include lion's mane for focus, cordyceps for energy, and shiitake for general nutrition. Evening mushrooms are reishi for calming and sleep, maitake for blood sugar taken with dinner, and turkey tail works best anytime, but consistency matters more than timing. What helps with absorption? Because a lot of these compounds aren't very well absorbed normally. Fat soluble compounds in mushrooms need, unsurprisingly, fat. Add coconut oil, ghee, or any healthy fat to your dose. Just a teaspoon makes a significant difference. Vitamin C enhances absorption of certain compounds, especially in reishi and chaga. A squeeze of lemon or a kiwi with your mushroom tea can improve bioavailability dramatically. Black pepper might help too. The piperine that helps turmeric absorption seems to work with some mushroom compounds as well. The research is preliminary but promising, and black pepper is cheap insurance. Here's what kills your expensive mushroom investment: dairy blocks polysaccharide absorption. Not completely, but enough to make a difference. The proteins in milk bind to beta-glucans like molecular Velcro. So save the mushroom latte art for Instagram. Heat damage depends on the compound. Beta glucans survive boiling water just fine. That's why hot water extraction works. But lion's mane's nerve growth compounds degrade above 140 degrees. If you're adding lion's mane powder to coffee, let it cool first, or you're making your coffee taste weird for no good reason. Alcohol above 25% concentration can damage some compounds too. If you're dropping tincture into a hot toddy, the mushroom benefits are gone, but at least you'll feel warm enough not to care. Some combinations amplify effects. Reishi plus Schisandra berry is a traditional combination that research is starting to validate. Lion's mane plus B complex vitamins seem to enhance cognitive benefits. Green tea's L-theanine pairs well with any morning mushroom for sustained focus without jitters. But some combinations cancel each other out. Don't take immune stimulating mushrooms like turkey tail with immune suppressing medications unless your doctor knows about it. Reishi can slow blood clotting, so be careful if you're taking aspirin or warfarin. Maitake lowers blood sugar, so watch it with any of the diabetes medications. Start with half a dose for a week. Mushrooms are powerful and some people are sensitive. Digestive upset usually means too much too fast, so build up slowly. If you get headaches, scale back. You might be one of the rare people sensitive to fungal proteins. So track what you feel, not necessarily what you read. Your lived experience matters more than any research paper. Online forums are full of people taking hero doses and claiming enlightenment. The actual research uses moderate, consistent amounts. This isn't a biohacking competition. Find your minimum effective dose and stick with it. Your liver will thank you, and so will your wallet. So, now on to why your cat absolutely cannot share your mushroom experiments. Your cat doesn't care about beta glucans or extraction ratios. They care about that interesting smell coming from your mushroom prep, and their curiosity can unalive them faster than folklore suggests. Here's how to keep your feline alive while you explore your fungal medicine. First, the mushrooms that won't hurt your cat. Shiitake, maitake, and lion's mane are all safe in small, cooked amounts. Raw mushrooms of any kind are off limits. Cats lack the enzymes to properly digest them, and raw mushrooms can cause severe gastric upset. If you're top it, if you're chopping shiitake for dinner and your cat steals a small cooked piece, don't panic. But don't make it a habit either. Cats are obligate carnivores. They don't need mushrooms, no matter what wellness influencers might claim about pet supplements. Store-bought button mushrooms, portobello, and oyster mushrooms are technically non-toxic, but still shouldn't be cat food. A tiny amount won't require a vet visit, but anything more than an accidental nibble risks vomiting and diarrhea. Your cat's digestive system isn't built for fungal matter. Now for what will absolutely harm your cat. Any Amanita species. Death caps, destroying angels. They're just as lethal to cats as they are to humans. Actually, more so, because cats weigh 10 pounds, not 150. For them, this includes any muscaria variety, anything that has the red caps with the little white spots. Gallerina mushrooms, those little brown ones on wood, they contain the same amatoxins. One small mushroom can cause irreversible liver failure. False morels, any inocybe or clitocybe species, and basically every wild mushroom should be treated as toxic to cats. Even mushrooms safe for humans can be unalivey to cats. Their livers process toxins differently. What gives you a mild stomachache might shut down their kidneys permanently. Indoor cats face risks too. If you're growing mushrooms, keep them completely inaccessible. Completely. I'm not joking. Cats investigate with their mouths. That lion's mane growing kit might look like an expensive toy to them. Your reishi tincture smells interesting. That pile of dried mushrooms waiting for extraction is a potential disaster. Know the signs of mushroom poisoning in cats. Early symptoms start within 15 minutes to 6 hours: drooling, vomiting, diarrhea, and lethargy. Severe symptoms include seizures, jaundice, which is yellow eyes and gums, bloody vomit or stool, tremors, vocalization from pain, and coma. Some mushrooms cause immediate symptoms. Others, like the amanitas, have a terrifying delay. Your cat seems fine for 6 to 12 hours while their liver slowly fails. Here's your emergency protocol. If your cat eats any unknown mushroom, don't wait for symptoms. Time is literally life. First, collect a sample of the mushroom. Put it in a paper bag, not plastic. Take multiple photos from different angles. If there are other similar mushrooms nearby, photograph those too. Call Pet Poison Control immediately. The ASPC's number is 888-426-4435. They charge a fee, but they have toxicologists on staff 24/7. Have your credit card ready. Call while you're on the way to an emergency vet. Bring the mushroom sample and the photos. Don't try to make your cat vomit unless poison control specifically instructs you to. Some mushrooms cause more damage coming back up. Treatment depends on the mushroom and the timing. If caught within 2 hours, the vet might induce vomiting and give activated charcoal. For serious toxins, your cat needs IV fluids, liver support medications, anti seizure drugs, and possibly blood transfusions. Amanita poisoning might require days of intensive care. Um, Prevention beats treatment every single time. If you forage, never bring a wild mushroom into the house without immediate proper storage. Keep all mushroom preparations in sealed containers. Clean up immediately after mushroom prep. Even tiny fragments can be dangerous to them. If you have outdoor cats, regularly inspect your yard for mushrooms. Remove them with gloves and dispose of them in sealed bags. After rain, do another check. Mushrooms appear overnight and cats investigate everything in their new territory. The brutal truth is that most vets can't identify mushroom species, and most mushroom poisonings in cats end badly. Your job is prevention, not treatment. So treat every unknown mushroom as if it's trying to unalive your cat, because it might be. Keep your fungal experiments human only and keep your familiar safe. There are plenty of mushrooms that are trying to kill you too. So, a word of caution is don't eat any mushrooms that you aren't 100% sure of what they are. So, like, I'm not going to get into all of the poisonous mushrooms. There are a lot of them, and an audio podcast is not the place to discuss what they could be. So, if you're foraging wild mushrooms or eating anything from outside, make sure you're with a trusted, vetted mushroom expert, and always verify 2 or 3 times to make sure that you have the mushroom that you think you do, because you don't want those side effects, right? So here's the end of it. What nobody tells you about working with the mushrooms is that the real transformation isn't in the beta glucans or the nerve growth factors. It's in the practice of working with the mushrooms itself. When you grow your own mushrooms, you're not just saving money, you're participating in decomposition and renewal, the fundamental cycle that keeps this planet running. When you make your own extracts, you're reclaiming knowledge that pharmaceutical companies would rather you rent monthly. When you share spawn with a neighbor or teach someone to identify a turkey tail, you're building the resilience that centralized systems cannot provide. Your own human scale mycelial network. Three critical points before you start. First, document everything. Keep a mushroom journal: what you grew, what you extracted, how you felt, what failed. The difference between medicine and poison is often in the details. Your notes become your personal pharmacopoeia, worth more than any book that you can buy off of a shelf. Second, start small and stay consistent. Pick one mushroom to master before trying a spoonful of 10 in your coffee every day. A daily lion's mane practice for 6 months teaches you more than sporadic experiments with everything thrown in. These compounds work subtly, cumulatively. Give them time. Third, respect the limits. Some mushrooms interact with medication. Reishi with blood thinners, maitake with diabetes drugs. If you're on prescription meds, research interactions or talk to a pharmacist who won't dismiss mushrooms as just worthless supplements. And remember, mushrooms are not magic bullets. They're partners in health, not replacement for a mindful lifestyle and medical care when needed. And one last tip: freeze or dry your extras. If you're doing any mushroom processing yourself, you don't want to waste any of the stuff that you're making. A cheap dehydrator turns abundance into shelf stable medicine. Those 3 pounds of oyster mushrooms from your bucket, dehydrated, powdered, and stored properly, that's a year of cardiovascular support for under $5. The ancient Taoists who called reishi the mushroom of immortality weren't naive. They understood something that we're just rediscovering. Fungi connect everything. They break down the dead to feed the living. They trade nutrients underground in networks that we're only beginning to map. They survived ice ages, mass extinctions, and will outlast our civilizations. You can't kill them in any way that matters. When you work with mushrooms, really work with them, not just swallow pills. You plug into that same network. You become part of the web that transforms waste into wealth, death into life, isolation into connection. That's the real medicine, older than our species and more durable than our systems.